My husband would have been so proud of those girls. I can't tell you what took that would be. He just said, Bridget and Kathleen, let's go. Get up there. You did a great job, ladies. And I want to thank all of these musicians and singers. They have come from far and wide at their own personal time and expense to join us today. They have been musicians that have played with us over the years. Our music director, Tony, and all of these people. I'd like you to give them all a round of applause. On November 7th, 1997, a friend of mine dragged me to a Catholic singles dance in Del Rey. Knowing that I would leave early would not allow me to drive. And so he took me there. And because I only had $8 in my purse, I could not take a cab home, and there was no Uber. At that dance, I wanted to leave at 8:05, having arrived at 8:10. Unbeknownst to me, Eddie Farrell, Mom, went to a mass at St. Joan of Arc, picked up a flyer, and found out that there was this Catholic singles dance in Del Rey, and then asked him to go along. And he decided to go, figuring he would be there a couple of hours and go have breakfast at Denny's. So I sat there all night wanting to leave, and he sort of watched me the whole night. And then about midnight, when the band was supposed to leave, they decided to stay an extra hour. I was not happy. I slammed the chair down, used several lovely Catholic words, and was furious. At that moment, Eddie Farrell said to me, "Hello, my name is Eddie Farrell. What parish are you from?" I thought that was a little weird, but I said, I told him. And I noticed he had a New York Jets watch, and if anybody knew Eddie Farrell, you knew that if you started a conversation about sports, you were in for it. And so he began to talk, and we found out we were CCD teachers, we were one of 6 children, we were both musicians, and that began our relationship. 2.5 months later, we were engaged, and when we went to see the priest, he said, "How long have you known each other?" And I said, 3 months, because I lied to the priest. You're the more mature couple, Eddie being 39 and I was 38, both first marriages. If you were with us last night, you heard all the wonderful things about him. He was a phenomenal teacher. We met 2 of his students who represented him so beautifully. He was a wonderful brother and friend, and baseball teacher and coach. He's a musician. He did everything well. And in 2005, he was unfortunately confined to a wheelchair. As that occurred, using the wheelchair every day like this, he began to kill his hands. And the musician that he was, playing the accordion, the piano, the melodica, the banjo, he couldn't do it any longer. And he had to retire all of it. I was furious. He was not. He never got mad. He never cursed God that he had lost his legs. He had lost his musical abilities. And he decided that he had to find another way. And the other way was God and service to God. One day, in about 2011, we were at Holy Day Mass on the Feast of All Saints. And he was sitting in front, as my nieces and nephews are, and I was in the pew behind him, and we were in Pennsylvania. And I noticed his body was going up and down, fluttering. And I wondered what was happening. I didn't know if he was having a stroke, or if he was laughing. I didn't know what it was. And after Mass, he told me that as the Eucharist was being consecrated on this holy table, his calves began to beat in rhythm, like a heartbeat. And then it was very painful. We didn't really know what to do with that. So I said, well, maybe it was an anomaly. The next time he went to Mass, it happened again. It began at the liturgy of the Eucharist. It stopped when the tabernacle was closed. As the years went on, it started at the beginning of Mass as the first note and ended at the last note of the Mass. While this was going on, Eddie had the worst pain a person can have. Imagine having a Charlie horse all over your body for an entire hour, nonstop. He grabbed this crucifix for dear life. And he said, Lord, if this is something that you want me to suffer, I will. I will do it lovingly and gladly. I would have stopped going to church. Eddie Farrell went to more masses. One day, Father Porter, who was the then pastor at St. Gregory in Plantation, asked if he would play the 4 masses on the 4th Sunday of Advent, which was in the morning, and Christmas Eve was in the evening. He wanted to save all the musicians for Christmas, but he needed somebody to play the 4th Sunday of Advent. So I said to Eddie, you don't want to sit through 4 masses, because by the end of the 4th Mass, your body will be mush. He said, Mary, this is Jesus. I'm not going to sit in the back of the church, in the music room, and not experience Jesus on the altar. And he sat for 4 masses. By the end, I had practically carried him out of church. Every day, Eddie Farrell prayed for hundreds and hundreds of people. He prayed for at least 15 years for Father Porter. Every day, without us. If he added you to his prayer list, he never took you off, even if you died. We have a friend here whose mother died. I don't even know how many years, Mary Jo? He still had it on his list. He never took you off. If he knew you were sick, he bumped you to the top. My dear sister Anne developed a terrible form of cancer. He could not tolerate that she was going to be out without us. He did not stop his prayer. She is well today. While he suffered, he also went into a trance of prayer. We always knew he was in the trance of prayer when he moved his hand this way. Friends, including Father Boyer, witnessed it. He would pray for hours and hours. He was in horrific pain, and he went to the cross for all those people on his list, the people he never took off. He prayed for every priest. He loved seminarians. He loved and mentored seminarians. He would go every Wednesday, he would go to the Mass at the seminary. While he was in the prayer trances, which could last for 8 hours, he would often see Our Lady. She would show him and smell roses. He would speak in tongues. He would speak to our Lord. And I said, how can this be? We never understood it. We never reported it to the church. What's people going to say? They're going to think you're crazy. But he experienced God on a daily basis. God knew that he allowed him to lose his job, to lose his hands, to lose his musical abilities, to lose his legs, to lose his driving, to lose his independence. And instead of getting mad, he jumped in worse, and he suffered more. He suffered for many of you in this room. Because that's what Eddie Farrell's legacy is. He wants all of us to be close to Jesus. He wants you parents to get your children baptized, take them to church every week, get them religious education, say the rosary in the home. He wants you to be a part of the church. That is who Eddie was, and who he is today. And when he was dying, I said to him, I know Our Lady is here. I know she has come to collect you. I asked her not to take him on the feast day, which was the 15th. He was vented. He couldn't talk. He was not anxious. And our friend our friend Gail in Switzerland, was in Switzerland, she called our friend Linda, who called our friend Tony, and said, you must get a picture of the divine mercy of Jesus. You must get it to Eddie. And before I even turned around, there they were standing with the picture. And when I put the picture in his eyesight, in his eye line, the tears ran down his face. Because he knew that Jesus was there, was waiting, was ready to collect him and to bring him to glory because of the suffering that he did, the suffering and things that he gave up, now were paid in full. God said 67 years and a few months is enough. I now bring you home, and I now bring you to myself. We are all lucky to know him. We are all lucky that we got to be with him. I wish I would have been a better wife sometimes when I would get exasperated. When he would fall off the ramp in the Publix and I'd have to call the firefighters. But you know what? He never forgot. He always forgave. And he always said, Mary, turn the page. That's the other thing about it. He always forgave. And he always turned the page. So today, as we put him in the ground, I know that he is with Jesus. I know it as much as I'm standing. I know that we have a very powerful intercessor and a powerful saint in heaven. I ask you to, as you go through your prayers, ask him for intercession because now he has the power. Now he can really help us. And I ask you to please pray for our family. We lost Eddie's mom on Memorial Day. We lost her cousin Jackie. After that, we lost her cousin Matt. And now we lost Eddie. So we ask for prayers for all the grief in our family, but knowing that our beloved Eddie is with Jesus and is getting it done out there. Let's go, Mets.